Because if you're caught with a Marcus Garvey book, prison. I have not smoked in 52 years. And it was easy to stop smoking cigarettes. I mean, in one night, me stop smoke cigarette. You know, people cut down. I was in love with this girl. And she just asked me one night, she never tell me I must stop smoking. She just said, why don't stop smoking? I'm just drop the cigarette out, never smoke a cigarette again. But I couldn't stop smoking. I never want to stop smoking. And a few months later, first chalice, we gave it the first chalice, the second one. And I remember when we gave it, but cow horn, we never really want to part with that. But eventually, gave away the cow horn too. So by 1971, I never smoke again. It took a big load off of me in terms of the risk of walking with herb or walk with chalice. Because back in the 60s, when police catch you with herb, it's a big, big thing. It's not, nobody's going to carry you to court and charge you, you pay a fine and come out, Prison. So, it's October now, right? If you were caught with a ganja seed, and them time when police are searching, them shine a flashlight in your pocket and search a seam in your pocket to see if them can find a ganja seed. If you're found with a ganja seed, October 2022, you will spend all of this year in prison, all of the remainder of the year in prison. 2023 would catch you in prison. You'll spend all of 2023 in prison. 2024 would come and you'd still be in prison. You'd come out March of 2024 if you're caught with a ganja seed. No. That was back in the 60s. Youths don't like talk about politics, them just think that all politicians are bad. I mean, even in this old newspaper I have here, March 8, 1977, Percy Broderick is here in this newspaper talking about legalizing ganja. Legalize it, says Broderick. I don't know. You see that? Legalize it, says Broderick. No. Ganja, this wasn't new. And this was March 1978. No, 1977. Right. The PNP had already started addressing this thing under Michael Manley. Because one of the first things Michael Manley did as a politician and Prime Minister was tour prisons and find that a lot of youths who were in prison were there for ganja. I said, but that's not a criminal act. So, a lot of them were even writing poetry in prison. And that talent came out onto the streets as what people now call dub poetry. It was because of ganja why a lot of those guys were in prison. And ganja led to what we are called dub poetry now, coming through a politician. So 5 years later, Percy Broderick are calling that this thing is legalized. And we're just doing it in this time now. In 2022. Now, if I wanted to smoke herb, you see, and back in those days, nobody smoked herb for kicks. But young Rasta, but we don't wear locks. So you don't just light a spliff and smoke. You always bless it. You pray for humanity, you pray for yourself, It's a big deal with us smoking herb. Now, if I want to get my chalice out of Redder's Road, because I couldn't smoke in Meadowbrook. Couldn't. I forget my chalice out of Redder's Road. Luckily, I had white neighbors, because back in those days, white people were still living in Meadowbrook or were living in Meadowbrook. No police go and search a white girl. So there was this white girl who used to live on the adjacent road. And I used to ask her to take my chalice out of Redwood Road for me. Matter of fact, she used to take my chalice out there, my Bible, and probably a Marcus Garvey book. Because if you're caught with a Marcus Garvey book, prison. Remember, this is under JLP administration and you're going to end up in prison because that's illegal literature. And ganja was treated even worse than that. So I was smoking a lot then. And like I said, I smoked right up to 71. There was a ganja that came from Rock Hall. And people used to say about some red herb. I never see it after that. But at that time, Rock Hall had a good herb. Oh, probably that's why I talk about up Sligoville. Yeah, maybe, you know. But them had a red herb that came from that area. And nobody paid real attention to where a herb was coming from. The only place people mentioned any special kind of herb was from Rock Hall. But other than that, it was by herb. And it was, a stick of herb was 2 shillings. And 2 sticks of herb could have load a chalice. And a country in them days are big like this. And 2 sticks of herb could have load a country. Nowadays, people sell you some herbs and call it a stick of herb. And I don't know what that is. Every day you roll a spliff for them time, they're bigger than your big finger. Just a spliff, yeah. I would never call it big head or anything. I never started using those terms till way into the 70s. Yeah.
People are used spliff for a long time.
Yeah. And then no, you couldn't get like paper and that kind of thing. So what we used to do is buy bread, or after the bread done, you take the bag. And them days I would call that skin paper, because it's skin. So if you buy a patty, you get this nice thin paper bag, and that again was skin paper. So if you're from a ghetto area and police search you and don't find herb on you, but them find you with skin paper, and you're a downtown ghetto youth, or a Red Hills Road up in the lane, where you come from Black Ants Lane, or Park Lane, or 100 Lane, you come from those areas and you have skin paper, you have a good chance the police are going to put on them baton for you. If you come from Meadowbrook, you get a scolding. Boy, what you do with this in your pocket? Go home to your parents. And they might take the baton and push you. But I'm not going I'm not going to lick you with the baton, no. But come from Red Hills Road and you have ganja smoking implement, which is a paper bag, you might get some beating. Yes, I hear it, people call him Peter Tosh. I suppose because his name is Macintosh, but no, we know him as Touch. Peter Touch. Yeah, he was a herb man. But I never saw, I never saw them guys as being real herb man as such, you know. Herb man was a real elder Rasta man, they moved up on a herb camp. I never see them on the smoke on the street. Never. You'll never see that happen. You have to go on a herb camp for that.
So how Jamaica become associated with ganja?
Because the popularity of Rasta was getting a fight. And you know, you fight against something, usually you tend to resist the fight and grow. And the music was getting out there in the world. And with the music, Rastafari culture went with it too. And it obviously spread around the world. And then people started coming closer to the culture. People from outside of it started coming closer to it. And ganja was an integral part of the whole Rastafari movement. And people who got close to Rasta because of the music took ganja from there to the outside world. So it wasn't Rastas that took it to the outside world, it was non-Rastas that actually did most of that movement of the acceptance of ganja from one sector of society to another sector. It wasn't Rastas that did that. Rastas left a positive mark on the world through ganja because people saw the honesty, dignity, and real beauty in the personality of Rastas. And because ganja was so much linked to Rastafari and Rastafari brethren, that people accepted ganja as some kind of a plant with positive blessings coming from it. Because if these brothers accepted this thing, lived by it, then there must be good things in it.